Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Mahotsuka no Yome, or The Ancient Magus' Bride, episode 13. Sorry, when I went to start recording, I noticed I've been like a little bit sick the past 2 days, like just the cold-ish kind of stuff, just your normal everyday stuff. But it sounds like my voice isn't quite here, so sorry if my voice is kind of like raspy or quiet, but yeah, it just sounds like my voice is not quite here today. But either way, let's discuss this episode, starting off the second half of the season. So the first thing I put down in my notes is the beginning, where we have this old man narrator. The old man narrator sounded like he was about to bust a nut. Like, he was like the creepiest way of speaking, the inflection. We get the new opening for the second half of the season. It's very meh, very underwhelming. I saw a lot of people complaining, saying it was just a slideshow, saying the first one was better. I think the song for this one might be better than me. I don't know. It's going to take a while to get used to. But yeah, it was just a clip show. But what people forget, the first one was basically just a clip show too. So yeah. This opening was meh, the first one was meh, neither one of them were very good. And that's what I always think when I watch this show. This show has really good animation and really good music, so you would figure it would have a killer opening, but the first opening was kind of bad, and this one isn't great either. I think it's better than the first one a bit, just because the song is better. Yeah, so I mean, it's just very, very average or slightly below average as an opening, which is weird considering the great production quality of the show. So the things we saw at the end of last episode are called woolly bugs, and it's time to shear their wool. That was a nice little scene, just Chisei and Elias sitting around shearing the wool, and we find out it's useful for magic, so Chisei is going to keep some to use for a pillow or something like that. And they're adorable. I think they're really, really cute, these little creatures. Chisei, basically, she doesn't listen to anything Elias says when he's like, oh, I'm going to get another bag or whatever. If you see one that's different, don't touch it. And she immediately gets bumped into by it, and instead of saying, okay, we should make sure I don't touch this again, she gets pissed off and tries to attack it, just not listening at all. And it turns into some Pokemon shit with this creature fighting against Ruth, who's breathing fire at the time. So it turns into a Pokemon battle, but it ends up stealing all the heat away from Chisei, so they have to take her in and warm her up. We have a good conversation between Chisei and Elias. Elias being kind of a bitch, though. He was about to erase her memories. What kind of dick move is that? That's not cool whatsoever. So yeah, I wasn't quite happy with that. Damn, Elias, what is this? We find out from more past story that Chisei actually had a brother, and both parents had the sight, like she did. Her father and brother vanished, and I assume that to mean that they're going to be back in the story. Her brother's going to be some kind of mage prodigy or something, possibly as part of a bad guy team during an arc or something, because that's how this type of thing usually goes. And her mother killed herself, from what we understand. Elias then discovers that what he felt was loneliness. It was a really good scene, and I liked just the little things where Chisei was like showing her wand to Elias and stuff. It made it feel like a normal, ordinary relationship when you add in the little things like that. I think that small details help a lot. What I like next is we go through a little bit of a montage, and we see during that montage, if you haven't seen the OVA, which I'm assuming if you're watching the season, most of you have, but the OVA was a 3-part OVA series that came out around, half a year before this, maybe. It wasn't that long. I think maybe May 2016, but I could be off by a bit. But when she was reading the book to Elias and all that, that was from the OVA. And the OVA goes into more of Chisei's backstory if you hadn't watched it and wanted to check that out. But I really, really liked that. I liked that we get a specific part in the series where we're like, okay, that's where in the timeline the OVA fits in. So I thought that was really cool that we actually get a confirmed part in the timeline where that takes place. Simon then shows up to get some medicine, An old man visits. Apparently he's called the Ashen Eye. He's been alive for 1,000 years, not quite human, and says he came to celebrate a new mage being born, turns Chisei into a fox, and I would say it looks like we're going to get some sort of arc stemming from that, or some sort of fight or something, but then we get the promo for next week's episode, and they pretty much just show us that it looks like kind of a normal episode, and it's going to be involving that one guy whose name I forget, and the Love Fairy, the Liana and Sid, or whatever. So yeah, there's that. I guess there's not going to be a huge deal with this Ashen Eye guy. And then the ending happens, and the ending again, I thought that for the first half of the season, the ending song was more memorable and more catchy than the opening song, but the animation still was kind of just whatever. It was a normal ending. It was whatever. And that's kind of the way this is too. I liked the ending song a lot, and I was like, I think I might like that song better than I liked the opening song. But the animation's still just normal, whatever kind of ending. Not great, very, very average. Which, again, I guess is kind of odd considering how good the production quality of the show itself is. It's odd that the opening and ending aren't great. But either way, for the episode as a whole, I enjoyed the small things here and there. I think that those really do help make any series better. Just the little things between the characters. I thought the opening was a bit disappointing. I was like, oh, we're getting a new opening. I'm really excited for it. And then it was kind of disappointing because though I think I may have liked it a little bit more than the first one, we'll see in a couple weeks after I've watched it every single week, but though I think I liked it more than the first one, I could see the argument be made that the first one was better. So I don't know. It was a little disappointing. I love the OVA reference. I thought that was really good. And I think just the mystery that we kept building up with Chisei's past was really great. And I'm still not totally into Elias or his relationship with her. I kind of like the character, and like the relationship is usually kind of a turn-off that kind of holds episodes back. So like that's, I don't know, that's kind of a key important thing to the show. That's the one real negative that I'm like, I kind of wish we had way less of that, or that it was way better, and we just focus on the stuff that is good, or we improve that because that isn't. So yeah, it's kind of like, again, one huge thing for the series is still just an elephant in the room, not that great. But overall, episode was good, so I'd give it 7.5 woolly bugs out of 10. those were adorable. 7.5 out of 10. So, if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this episode or what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more Mahotsukai no Yome, much more on the channel. Still thinking of which anime I will review for this season. I guess after this weekend, the rest of what I'm planning to watch should be airing. So I guess starting next week is when I'll decide on 2, maybe 3 to review week to week, and put out my reviews for the first episode of those. So far right now I've watched 8 out of the 18 shows I'm planning to watch this season, and the only one that I'm thinking of maybe reviewing is Kokoku. So if any of you want me to review that, I guess just throw down there that you want me to review that, because so far that's the front runner. That and Darling in the Franxx hasn't aired yet, and Killing Bites hasn't aired yet, and those two are looking like 2 more that are a very strong maybe. Oh, and Merkin Maidkin or something like that. Not sure how it would be pronounced. I guess I'll have to wait and watch the show. But that's another one that I think has a pretty good possibility. So we'll see how the premieres of those all end up, and I'll decide on something next week. But some of you suggesting stuff to review would really give me a much better chance of choosing that. But yeah, either way, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. If you want a link to our Discord server, just ask and I'll give you one. That's it. Thank you once again for watching. I'll see you all next time.